The narrow alley behind the Shaw Brothers studio reeked of stale noodles and motor oil, a forgotten slice of old Hong Kong wedged between towering apartment blocks. Jackie Chan emerged from the back entrance, still hearing echoes of his own voice from the dubbing session. His throat was raw from 3 hours of recording fight sounds, the grunts, the impact noises, the theatrical breathing that made movie kung fu seem larger than life. He loosened his tie and rolled his shoulders, feeling the familiar ache that came from a day spent hunched over microphones. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows between the buildings, and Jackie was looking forward to nothing more than a quiet bowl of wonton soup and maybe a good night's sleep for once. "Hey, movie star!" The voice cut through the alley's ambient noise like a rusty blade. Jackie's steps slowed as he recognized the tone, not the excited squeal of a fan, but something harder, more challenging. He turned to see 3 men blocking the alley's exit, their stances casual but deliberate. They were young, maybe early 20s, with the lean, wiry builds that spoke of street fighting rather than formal training. The one in the middle, sporting a faded Bruce Lee t-shirt with obvious irony, stepped forward. "We've been waiting for you, Jackie Chan. We want to see if you're as tough as you look on screen." Jackie raised his hands peacefully, that disarming smile spreading across his face, the same one that had charmed directors and audiences for years. "Come on, brothers. I'm just trying to get home. No need for any trouble." "Trouble?" The second man, taller and sporting a fresh scar across his left cheek, laughed harshly. "We're not making trouble. We're just curious. All those movies, all those fights, are they real, or is it all just camera tricks and stunt doubles?" Jackie could see a small crowd beginning to gather at the alley's mouth. Word traveled fast in this neighborhood when something was happening. Shopkeepers peered from doorways, and he could hear the excited whispers in Cantonese. "It's Jackie Chan. Those idiots are picking a fight with Jackie Chan. Someone's about to get hurt." The third man, stocky with arms covered in amateur tattoos, cracked his knuckles. "We've been training in real kung fu while you've been playing pretend. Time to see who's the real deal." "Listen," Jackie said, his voice remaining calm despite the adrenaline beginning to course through his veins. "I don't want to fight you. There's no honor in it, and someone's going to get hurt unnecessarily." Bruce Lee's shirt laughed. "You scared, movie boy? All that wire work and special effects made you soft?" They began to circle him then, and Jackie found himself pressed against the alley's brick wall. The crowd was growing larger now, some pulling out phones to record what they thought would be an epic beatdown of Hong Kong's beloved action star. Jackie could hear murmurs of disappointment. They'd wanted to see their hero triumphant, not cornered like prey. The first shove came from behind, not hard enough to hurt, but enough to make Jackie stumble forward into the arms of the scarred man, who pushed him back with a sneer. "Aw, look at that. No wires to catch him this time." "Come on, show us some of those famous moves," the stocky one taunted, giving Jackie another push. "Where's all that acrobatic stuff we see in the movies?" Jackie's mind raced. He could fight. God knows he could fight. Years of training under Yu Jim Yuen at the China Drama Academy had given him skills that went far beyond what any movie could show. But fighting here, now, against 3 kids who just wanted to prove something to themselves and their friends? It would solve nothing and create problems he didn't need. The pushes continued, harder now. Bruce Lee's shirt was getting bolder, his friends emboldened by Jackie's apparent passivity. The crowd's murmur was shifting from excitement to something else. Was their hero really going to take this humiliation lying down? "You know what I think?" Bruce Lee's shirt said, his voice rising so the crowd could hear every word. "I think Jackie Chan is all fake. Just a pretty face who lets other people do the real work." That one stung more than the physical contact. Jackie's jaw tightened, and for a moment, his famous self-control wavered. His muscles tensed, and both hands unconsciously shifted into a defensive position that any trained fighter would recognize as preparation for explosive action. It was then, almost without thinking, that his right hand drifted to the inside pocket of his jacket. The reaction was instantaneous and startling. All 3 men froze mid-taunt, their eyes locked on Jackie's hand as it rested against his jacket pocket. The change in their demeanor was so dramatic, it was almost comical, like watching sharks suddenly realize they'd been circling a submarine instead of a wounded fish. Bruce Lee's shirt's cocky grin vanished completely. Wait a minute. You're not reaching for what I think you're reaching for, are you?" the scarred man whispered, taking an involuntary step backward. Jackie's eyebrows furrowed in confusion. He wasn't reaching for anything in particular. His hand had simply moved there out of habit, the way people unconsciously touch their wallet or keys. But the terror in their eyes was unmistakable, and the crowd behind them had gone completely silent. "Please tell me you don't have one of those," the stocky man breathed, his tough guy persona crumbling like wet paper. "Have one of what?" Jackie asked, genuinely puzzled, but the three men were already backing away, hands raised in surrender. "A death scroll," Bruce Lee Shirt whispered. "A Red Seal certificate. Oh God, we're so sorry, Master. We didn't know. We thought you were just an actor." The pieces began falling into place in Jackie's mind. Of course, in the traditional kung fu world of Hong Kong, certain masters still carried formal certification of their lineage, red-sealed scrolls or cards that proved their legitimate training under recognized masters. These weren't just credentials, they were symbols of a deadly serious commitment to the martial arts. More importantly, they marked someone as being under the protection and authority of established kung fu families. In the underground fighting scene, challenging someone who carried such certification wasn't just disrespectful, it was potentially suicidal. It meant you weren't just fighting one person, you were potentially making an enemy of an entire kung fu brotherhood. Jackie slowly, deliberately, reached into his pocket and withdrew what had caused such panic. His student identification card from the China Drama Academy, complete with Master Yu's red seal and signature. The small piece of paper looked innocent enough, but to these street fighters, it might as well have been a royal decree. "Master Yu Jim Yuan," the scarred man read in a strangled whisper as Jackie held the card where they could see it. "Oh no, oh no, no, no." Yu Jim Yuan was a legend in Hong Kong martial arts circles. Known as one of the last true masters of the Peking opera fighting tradition, he had trained some of the most respected martial artists and stuntmen in the film industry. More importantly to these street fighters, he was known to have connections throughout the traditional kung fu community. Connections that could make life very difficult for anyone who disrespected his students. "We're dead," the stocky man moaned. "We're actually dead. Master Yu's going to send the Hung Gar guys after us, and the Wing Chun masters, and probably half of Chinatown." Jackie looked at the terrified faces before him and felt something shift inside. These weren't evil men. They were just young fighters trying to prove themselves in the only way they knew how. In their world, reputation was everything, and they'd thought they could build theirs by tearing down his. But now they understood they'd been about to challenge not just Jackie Chan the actor, but Jackie Chan the legitimate martial artist, trained by one of the most respected masters in Hong Kong. In their minds, they had narrowly avoided committing a grave offense against the entire traditional kung fu community. "Please, Master Jackie," Bruce Lee Shirt said, dropping to his knees right there in the dirty alley. "We beg your forgiveness. We didn't know about your true training. We thought you were just a movie star." The other two followed suit, kneeling in the traditional posture of respect. The crowd, which had been expecting a fight, now witnessed something far more extraordinary. 3 street fighters performing the ancient ritual of submission to a superior martial artist. Jackie looked down at them, then at his student card, then back at their terrified faces. He could have lectured them about respect, about the difference between real martial arts and street brawling. He could have used this moment to assert dominance, to make them grovel further. Instead, he knelt down beside them, bringing himself to their level. "Brothers," he said softly, "get up. You don't need to kneel to me." They looked up in confusion, tears of relief and shame mixing on their faces. "You want to know if movie kung fu is real?" Jackie continued, helping Bruce Lee Shirt to his feet. "Here's what's real: respect, humility, understanding that strength isn't about who you can beat up, but about who you can help become better." He tucked the card back into his pocket. "You're good fighters. I can see it in how you move, how you carry yourselves. But fighting to prove you're tough? That's the weakest thing you can do. Fighting to protect someone who can't protect themselves? That's real strength." The 3 men stood there in stunned silence, processing words they'd never expected to hear from someone they'd been ready to humiliate. The crowd, which had grown to nearly 50 people, was equally quiet, straining to hear every word of this impromptu lesson in the middle of a Hong Kong back alley. Jackie reached into his other pocket and pulled out 3 business cards, not the fancy ones his agent insisted he carry for industry events, but simple white cards with his name and the address of a small gym in Wan Chai. "Master Wong runs a traditional kung fu school there," he said, handing each man a card. "Tell him Jackie sent you. He's always looking for students who have real potential but need guidance. Train properly for a year, learn what martial arts really means, and maybe we can spar sometime." as friends. Bruce Lee Shirt, who Jackie realized couldn't be more than 19, stared at the card as if it were made of gold. You would train with us? After what we tried to do? After what you tried to do, it's exactly what I'd do. Jackie smiled. Master Yu always taught us that the best way to defeat an enemy is to make them your friend. Besides, Hong Kong needs more real martial artists, not just more guys who know how to throw punches. The scarred man wiped his eyes, clearly struggling with emotions he'd never expected to feel. Why are you being so kind to us? We disrespected you in front of all these people. Jackie gestured to the crowd, which was now pressing closer, phones recording everything. Look around you. What do you think these people will remember? That 3 guys tried to start a fight with me? Or that we ended up shaking hands and talking about respect and training? He was right. The murmurs from the crowd had shifted completely. Instead of bloodthirsty anticipation or disappointment, there was something like awe. Children were whispering to their parents, "Is that really Jackie Chan?" Elderly shopkeepers nodded approvingly at the scene unfolding before them. The stocky man looked down at his card, then back up at Jackie. Mr. Chan, I have to ask, when you reached for that card, did you know we'd react like that?" Jackie laughed, the same infectious laugh that had endeared him to audiences worldwide. "Honestly, I had no idea. I was just checking to make sure I still had my student ID. I've carried it for 20 years, just out of respect for my teacher. I never thought it would be more effective than any fighting move I know." "That's the thing about real kung fu," said a new voice. The crowd parted to reveal an elderly man in a simple gray shirt and black pants. Jackie's eyes widened in recognition and immediate respect. "Master Wong," he said, bowing deeply. The 3 street fighters looked confused until they realized this was the same Master Wong, whose gym address was on the cards they were holding. "I was walking by when I heard the commotion," Master Wong said, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "I wanted to see how my friend Jackie handled himself." He looked appraisingly at the 3 young men. "And I wanted to see if these 3 were worth the paper those cards are printed on." The old master stepped forward and examined each of the 3 fighters with the experienced eye of someone who had been teaching for 50 years. Raw talent, poor discipline, too much pride, not enough wisdom. Yes, I can work with this. Classes start Monday at 6 a.m. Don't be late." As the crowd began to disperse, chattering excitedly about what they had witnessed, Jackie found himself walking alongside Master Wong toward the main street. "That was well done," the old master said quietly. "Your Sifu would be proud. You turned a moment of potential violence into a teaching opportunity." "I just remembered what you all taught us," Jackie replied. "That real strength isn't about being unbeatable. It's about knowing when not to fight at all." Master Wong nodded approvingly. "Those 3 boys learned more about martial arts in 10 minutes than they would have in 10 years of street fighting, and you reminded everyone watching what kung fu really means." As they reached the bustling main street, Jackie could see the 3 young men walking away together, still clutching their cards. Their entire demeanor changed. They walked with less swagger but more dignity, their heads high not from arrogance, but from a newfound sense of purpose. The incident in the alley would become legendary in Hong Kong's martial arts community, not as the day Jackie Chan beat 3 street fighters, but as the day he showed that sometimes the most powerful weapon a true martial artist carries is the wisdom to know when not to use any weapon at all. And Master Yu's red seal, tucked safely back in Jackie's pocket, had proven that sometimes respect is indeed more powerful than any fist.